Welcome to the Everything Art Podcast, episode 2. I really enjoy, making these podcasts and stuff. It's really fun because, I just get to talk about stuff. It's pretty simple. The last podcast we were doing Would You Rather. It was just a fun first podcast that I did with my sister. But this time we're going to be talking about art, adding meaning to your art, and how I glorify God through my art. So, I used to create art for fun. I think we all had that point where we're just creating art because it's fun, drawing, and then you really get to practicing, the technique of drawing and everything like that. And I used to copy photos off of Google and stuff like that. And, that's good for a while because you get that practice, you get that technique down and everything. But when you get really good at art, when you master that technique and start, making, experiencing new styles and new arts and everything like that with, exploring art. When you get to that stage, you really want to make your art your own because creating art is creating something that nobody's ever created before. And that's why meaning is very important to making art. And I didn't realize that until maybe a few years ago, probably, because I was always copying off of stuff, and that's a very good thing for practicing and mastering that technique. And how you can make meaning is I started off by making meaning just by taking pictures and copying them. That was the first thing. Taking really good photography photos of, let's say a flower, and I would draw that. At least it's not copying off of Google. So that is a very good start, just taking your own pictures and just copying them, because some people are so used to copying off of stuff. Like me, I was, it's fine. But it slowly, is the transition to creating your own art. Just first off, taking a picture of anything, like this duck. I don't know. I just had it on my desk. And you trying to copy that. Sorry, I don't know. The duck looked weird for a second. So the first thing that I would do, and that I did do, was, just drawing pictures that you take on a daily basis or something like that. And then, this could go for... I'm not cutting that part out. I just forgot what to say. So, I know there's different styles of art, fantasy and realism and everything. Whatever, it is. For fantasy, you're already, creating your own art. But I'm mainly talking to realism artists, I think, because that's what I'm really good at, is realism. That's why I copy off of so many things. So yeah, first thing is just taking photos and copying them. And then when you get really good at that stage, I would start taking photos of things that really have meaning. I have one of my art pieces over there, which has hands and has a necklace draping down, on the hands. And that basically represented, us holding on to God. But since it's wrapped around the hands, even if you let go, it's still going to be attached to your fingers because it's all wrapped around. So that's why when you get, so close to God, and get to know him and, really have the motivation, even if you stumble, he's still going to be right there. He's still going to be right with you. That was that meaning. I think one of the first, art pieces that I did with a meaning was it was my grandma's hands, and there was a frog in it, and then there was my finger coming to touch the frog and everything. It was just a memory that I had a long time ago, and I didn't have a picture to actually draw it, so I took a bunch of pictures on Google and sort of like cropped them out and just layered them. That's how I do some of my drawings. I have to, take the hands as one picture from Google and put it on, and then crop out a frog and put it on there, and then another finger coming in. So that's another thing you could do is, like, you can start by photography and drawing that, and then creating it with a bunch of Google images, because that's how I started, and drawing that, which is a little bit harder because it's not really a picture, It's a bunch of pictures together, so that might be a little harder, but that's how I started. And let's see here. Hold on. What was the next thing I did? I think I just kind of went for it, I started really taking pictures with meaning. That's how you create your own art with realism, is since I'm so good at like copying and stuff, that's how I do things, because I see it and I could draw it, then you start, thinking of like a picture you can do, and thinking of the meaning and everything. And like I took that picture with the cross and everything, and I was just looking at it, and then you can create such a deep meaning in it, and when you draw it, oh, it's so good. I'm sorry if I'm not explaining it too well. I'm not very good at putting things in words. That's why I create art, so I don't have to speak the meanings. I could just draw it, and yeah. That's the cool thing about art, though. When you're an artist, you can take your words and your thoughts and just create a masterpiece. And I've done it before too with my emotions, and I would, there was this one, I took a picture of myself like curled up into a ball with like handcuffs, I think it was, and like a taped mouth and everything, because I was struggling with anxiety back then, 2 years ago, really bad. And I had like butterflies all over for like a sign of hope and everything. So you can have one image, for a drawing, and add an element that represent different things that all come together for like one meaning. Oh, that is awesome. That's how you can show the glory of God in your art. Just, in the Bible, it has a bunch of elements, and they all represent different things. Like Jesus talks about parables. Like, let's say the parable of the sower, when he said a sower went to go sow seeds, and the seeds dropped on like stony ground, and it sprung up, but when the sun came, it withered away because it had no roots. So the seed represents the word of God, and the sun represents trials, and the stone represents the hardness of your heart. So putting all these elements together with all these little meanings is exactly how you create meaning through your art. And I'm so happy right now. That's how you do it. Over there, I got all my drawings. That's why I'm looking over there. But yeah. And I have an eyeball one too. I'll be posting that video soon. And there's a lot of meaning to that too. But it's also really good to practice your art and really, draw it with a lot of detail. I think I'm trying to say, or abstract art can have meaning too with your emotions. You're just putting your emotions on paper pretty much, which is pretty awesome. I like to do hyperrealism art, and realistic art. So using those tiny details, like of the skin, let's say, with every single skin cell, it just makes that art pop out and have so much more meaning. And yeah. Trying to think. Oh yeah, glory of God. That's what I was doing. So that's what I've been doing. I've been using this talent that God gave me to just express how I feel and what I went through in my testimonies to, show it in art so I could show other people, because obviously I'm not a very good speaker and everything, so it's hard to speak in words what I went through and, how God is helping me. That's why in art it just explains it for itself in a way. I think that's pretty cool. I keep looking over there. Yeah. So I think I'm going to continue to share the glory of God and what Jesus did for us in my art, because that's how I spread the gospel. And I feel like that's how God is really calling me to do that, since he gave me this beautiful talent that I'm able to take a pencil, just a random pencil, put it to paper, and create a masterpiece. I think that is awesome. And he's the ultimate creator too. Like, he created this whole world with the trees and everything and nature. And for him to give me a little bit of his talent is amazing. And I get to share that with the world. So, yeah, I think that's pretty cool. Yeah, I think that's all I wanted to say. So, just to, wrap everything up, basically, it's really good to share meaning in your art and anything that you do. That is a very good thing. That is a very good thing to learn and to, try out and practice, because that can make art so meaningful. And sharing it with somebody else could open their eyes to a whole new perspective and open their heart to something they've never even felt or seen before about what you went through or how you're feeling. And that's how people can understand other people through art. So, yeah, that is pretty awesome. I'm gonna think about that for the rest of the day. Just how one art piece, if you can create a crazy meaning to it, a meaningful art piece can change somebody's life. It really can. Or change their perspective. Or just give them motivation to create something of their own. So, yeah, that's pretty awesome. And I recommend you guys, try to make something today that's meaningful. And if you don't succeed, just keep trying, It can be about anything. It could be about how happy you were going to one of your favorite places, or I don't know, it could something simple to start out, and then you can build up from there. So that's what I wanted to explain today. And yeah. And I just hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I hope you guys make really meaningful pieces with, it could be lessons too, in life. And I just hope you guys can change the world through your art and help other people, because art can help other people too. I pray you guys have an awesome day today, and I pray you stay creative constantly. Just always be creative in whatever you do. Thank you guys for watching. Bye!